Okay, so welcome to class, October 19th. One thing I'm going to say quickly is I have been doing these movements very, very slowly and very, very small. Now, I was just in class this last weekend and she reminded me that smaller is also not always better. And then obviously we did a bunch of the physical movement. And so I might be doing things a lot larger than what you are used to. So I just encourage you to find what feels best in your body. Experiment with it. So when you're ready, we will lay down comfortably. Knees bent if that's what's most comfortable for you, or legs out long. Taking a few breaths here, just really putting away all of the things that are going on in your life right now that are not going to serve you for this next hour. So making sure that your to-do list and all of the things that are just mentally stacked up get put away for now. And as you're breathing, really just paying attention to coming into your body. And starting with our body scan, starting at your toes, just noticing your feet where they're pointed, if they are flat on the ground or if your legs are long. Coming through the ankles, the legs, knees, thighs. Paying a little bit more attention here to the legs and what direction they're going, how they're feeling, noticing how they're attached to your hips. Noticing your pelvis. How is it feeling as it's sitting on the floor right now? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is there more pressure one side compared to the other? Are you maybe unequal? Maybe one side is sitting higher towards your head than the other. Breathing deep into our bellies, noticing how your abdomen rises and falls with your breath. Moving upward, also noticing how your rib cage expands and contracts with your breath. Paying attention here to if your rib cage moves equally one side to the other, or if there might be a delay or less movement on one side. Wrapping around to the back of your body, coming down to the tailbone. Just noticing your sacrum, the tailbone, how those are sitting on the floor right now, how they're connected to your low back, and what that low back is feeling like. What kind of an arch you have. Maybe you don't have an arch. If you're feeling any pain or tension through the low back muscles. Working our way up the spine. Do you feel your spine is laying flat through the thoracic cage? Is it heavier on one side compared to the other? And your shoulders, noticing how they connect to your body from the shoulder down into the chest, down into the back, and from the shoulders down through the arms. Looking for any areas of pain or tension, discomfort maybe. And finally, noticing your head and your neck. You can do a gentle roll with your head and just see how it feels, see what movement is available to you right now. And notice how your head feels against the floor. Taking a moment to commit any of those sort of sticky areas to memory so we can come back to them later to compare. Bending our knees so our feet are flat on the floor. We're going to start with a tilt and flatten. So when you're ready, on an inhale, bring the belly button up towards the ceiling by pushing the tailbone down towards the floor, creating an arch in your low back. Remembering to breathe comfortably through these motions, and slowly, when you're ready, releasing back down to the floor. Noticing the muscles of the lower back lengthening to allow this motion to happen. Always taking a moment of rest at the end of every movement. And when you're ready, again on an inhale, tilting that pelvis forward, your tailbone's pushing down into the floor, your belly button is rising towards the ceiling. Slowly coming back down. Remembering that we are not pushing our bodies into a stretch. There should be no pain or discomfort in any of these movements. One more time when you're ready. Inhaling, tailbone down to the floor, belly rises up towards the ceiling. You can also gently draw your shoulder blades down towards your hips. So you're imagining your shoulder blades and your hips are coming towards each other, creating a slightly larger arch in your low back. Gently releasing all of those muscles. Lowering back down. Taking a pause at the end, and then we will come into flatten. This time on an exhale. So when you're ready, on an exhale, bringing your pubic bone and your rib cage together, really pushing that lower back down into the floor, and then relaxing the abdominal muscles to allow you to come back to neutral. Again, when you're ready, on an exhale, bringing the pubic bone and the rib cage toward each other, really pushing that back flat down, and then slowly letting go of the abdominal muscles to bring you back to neutral. One last time on an exhale, bringing the belly button or the pubic bone and the rib cage towards each other, pushing your back flat down towards the floor, and slowly letting the abdomen go. When you're ready, allowing you to float down towards neutral. And as always, remembering to rest. Now taking our right leg and crossing it over our left. You can cross at the ankle, calf, or at the knee, whatever you choose. And you can play with it each repetition and see what feels best to you. Gently tipping your legs over to the right side, following the pointed right knee. You're going to find a lengthening through the spine, a nice twisting motion. Only going as far as you feel is comfortable for you. And when you've reached that point, gently bringing yourself back to center. Taking a moment of rest in center before you allow that right knee to tip to the right side again. Let this be a reminder, if you want to go quite far with these motions and it feels comfortable to do so, feel free. As long as you are going within comfort and you are staying slow enough that you are paying attention to creating these movements. Coming back to center whenever you're ready. As long as you're slow enough that you are creating the movement and you're not relying on muscle memory to do it on autopilot. Relaxing again in center before tipping over to the right one more time. Again, paying attention to the low back, hips, as they gently twist. Coming back up whenever you're ready towards center again. Taking a moment to rest here before you uncross your legs and bring your left leg over your right knee. Again, crossing at whatever point feels most comfortable. Then, same as the other side, we're going to gently tip our left knee to the left side of our body. Staying in comfort, staying slow enough that we're paying attention to the way that we're moving. Stopping whenever feels like a comfortable end point to you. And gently coming back up to center. Remember, if you finding any areas of jerky, stuttery motion, just gently contract back into the movement you're doing and go back through it. Taking a moment to rest. Gently tipping the knee down towards the left-hand side. Only as far as is comfortable for you. And coming back up whenever you're ready. Resting back in center. And one last time, tipping the knees to the left-hand side of your body. Noticing the twist in your hips and your spine. And whenever you've reached your comfortable stopping point, bringing yourself slowly back up to center. When you've had a moment to rest, you can uncross your legs, keeping your knees bent and arms wherever is comfortable for you. We're going to do some, what they're called, walking exercises, but we're going to be doing them laying on our backs. So, bringing your feet wide, approximately the distance of your yoga mat. So this one we're going to be rolling our hips back and forth, sort of like a barrel. So right to left, essentially. Starting by dropping your left knee in towards your right leg. Doesn't have to be a far drop, but some amount of movement. Then, gently pushing down through the sole of your foot, you're going to raise that left hip up off the ground, rolling it up towards the ceiling and over towards your right side. You're going to notice a lengthening through the glutes and the back, and then slowly coming back down to flat. And your knee coming back up to starting position. Taking a moment to rest. And we'll do that left side again. So slowly dropping the left knee in towards the right leg. Then gently pushing through the sole of the left foot, allowing the hip to come off the floor and roll up towards the ceiling and over towards the right side of your body, lengthening through the back of the body and slowly coming back up to center. Remembering always, if any of these movements are too difficult or cause pain, try doing smaller and or slower and see if that changes things. If it doesn't, then you might just have to omit this exercise physically and do it in your mind. So imagine your body is going through those motions. You can even gently contract the muscles that you need to in order to do that motion without actually making the movement happen. Taking a quick moment here to pay attention to the way your hip feels on the left-hand side versus the right-hand side, if you've noticed any changes happening already in comparison to the two. Then moving to our right-hand side, again dropping that right knee over towards the left leg, and gently pressing down through the sole of the right foot, allowing that right hip to come off the floor up towards the ceiling and tipping over to the left side of the body. Bringing it back down when you're ready. always taking a moment of rest. And then coming in to do it again. Right knee tipping gently over to the left. Pushing down through the sole of the right foot. The right hip coming off of the floor up toward the ceiling and rolling over to the left side of the body. Bringing it back down whenever you're ready. And taking a moment of rest. You can do this motion rocking straight from side to side, so no breaths in between, and just moving from one right into the other, if that's something that feels good to you to try in the future. For today, we're going to just bring our feet a little closer in together for our second walking exercise. So feet approximately hip width apart. This time, instead of rolling our pelvis side to side, we're going to be essentially lifting one half of it up towards the ceiling, and instead of rolling over to the side, it's just going to be straight up and down. So let's start with the left hip. Instead of moving the knee in any direction side to side, we are just going to start by pushing into that left sole of the foot. The knee is going to come almost down towards your toes or forward towards your toes, and that left hip is going to come straight up towards the ceiling, and then slowly releasing back down. Again, when you're ready, doing that left side, pushing down through the sole of the foot, knee coming down towards the toes, left hip is coming up towards the ceiling, and slowly, when you're ready, back down. Moving to the right side, gently pressing down through the sole of the right foot, knee coming down over towards the toes, and right hip coming directly up towards the ceiling. Gently letting it back down. Taking a moment of rest. One more time, gently pushing down through the right foot, knee coming down towards the right toes, and right hip coming up towards the ceiling. Back down slowly when you're ready. This is also one where you can alternate back and forth without a rest in between, if you choose to do that. Taking a moment to relax here before bringing our legs down long. And we're going to do just a gentle hip hike motion. So, starting on the left side, we're going to draw the left hip up towards the head. And you'll notice your right hip is going to gently press away from it naturally. Then slowly easing that tension back off so your hip comes back to neutral. Again, gently just lifting the left hip up towards the head. You'll notice your left leg feels a little shorter. And slowly releasing back down to neutral. Moving to the right hip when you're ready. Gently pulling that right hip up towards the head. Right leg will feel a little shorter. And slowly back down. Taking a moment to rest. And again, right hip, drawing it up towards the ceiling. You'll notice a small tension along the side of your right torso. And allowing that to relax back down. This time we will see if we can do an alternating without the breath and the rest in between. So starting with your left hip coming up, right hip will naturally go down. Tension is along the left side of the body, and slowly relax back to center. As you come down to center, move right through center and start by contracting that right hip up towards the head. Left hip will naturally fall down away from the body. Tension along the right side of your torso and slowly letting it go. Remember, if you have any glitchy motions, just gently contract back through that glitch and let it go. Do a few repetitions of this on your own time, just following your body's lead. And wherever you are, slowly making your way back to neutral. Before you rest, you can bring your knees back into a bent position, feet flat on the floor. We're going to do wash rag, so bringing your arms out beside you like a T shape. Right hand facing palm up, left hand facing palm down. When you're ready, we're going to gently roll our arms towards the opposite direction. So right palm will turn towards facing down, left palm will turn towards facing up. And don't be afraid to include your shoulders in this motion. That means giving yourself a little extra oomph at the very end, or if you're able to include all the way through. Rolling back up to the original position when you're ready. Right palm moving towards facing up. Left palm moving towards facing down. And again, making sure those shoulders come into that motion. So if that means at the end range, you just give it a little more. And then just make sure that you're in a comfortable, relaxed position, right hand facing up, left hand facing down. And we'll start including the head. So face will turn towards palm facing up. And when you've made it there, we're going to reverse the movement. So we're going to turn right palm facing down, left palm facing up, and nose pointing towards palm facing up, left side. Reversing when you're ready. Right palm turning towards facing up. Left palm turning towards facing down. Nose following palm facing up, moving to the right hand side. Making sure you're at a comfortable stopping point at the end of this motion, and we'll add the knees. Knees will follow palm facing down. So gently tipping the knees over to the left. You'll notice here as you tip to the left that you're going to include more spinal twist rotation. Stopping wherever is comfortable for you. If you would like to go a really far distance, you can go all the way down if it's comfortable. Or you can add some pillows under your left knees, so you don't have to go down quite as far. When you're ready, reversing all of these movements. So right palm will turn facing down. Left palm will turn facing up. Nose will follow palm facing up to turning left. And knees will follow palm facing down, moving to the right. Noticing the twisting of your spine. Whenever you've reached your full movement or your comfortable stopping point, reversing again. Right palm turning facing up. Left palm turning facing down. Head turning right and knees falling left. Remembering you can give that little bit of extra movement in your shoulders by rotating your arms even further. Only if it feels good to you.
At your own pace, do 1 or 2 more repetitions. Remembering to breathe, paying attention to the muscles of the spine, twisting and lengthening. And when you're ready, coming back up into center. So knees will point towards the ceiling, nose will point towards the ceiling, and so will your thumbs. Taking a moment here to rest before bringing your arms back in. Next, we're going to do something called football arms. So, bend your elbows to 90 degrees and place your arms on the floor beside you. So palms will face down towards your toes. If this is not a comfortable position for you, you can bring a pillow under your hands to take a little bit of tension out of the shoulders. Or you can bring a little bit, bring the hands in towards the body a little bit. So when you're ready, keeping your elbows on the floor, gently picking up the hand and the forearm to create an arc as your fingertips come up towards the ceiling. Imagine somewhere in the 90 degrees or less distance and coming slowly back down. Taking a moment to rest before doing that again. Hands and forearms making an arc up towards the ceiling while your elbows stay on the ground. Stopping whenever it's comfortable for you, or at 90 degrees would be the end range for this motion. And slowly coming back down. One more time when you're ready, bringing your hands up off the ground, making a nice arc. This time, instead of stopping at 90 degrees, we're going to just keep going. So our fingertips are now going to begin pointing towards our head or the wall behind us. Stopping when your hands are either laying on the floor or until you found they will not go further comfortably. For me, my hands will not lay fully flat comfortably in this position. So I'm just going to grab a pillow and tuck it up against the top of my head so my hands can lay here like this. When you're ready, bring your arms up into that arc again, elbows staying on the floor, up to 90 degrees or fingers pointing up to the ceiling, and slowly back down towards your head. You can do this one side at a time if that feels better for you. If it's too difficult to concentrate on both sides at once, which usually happens if you have a lot of kind of jerky, stuttery movement on one side and the other side's fairly smooth. Taking your time to rest. Oh, pardon me. You can do that motion one more time. An alternative to this motion, instead of bringing your whole arm up, if you choose to do it this way, is to simply bend at the wrist and just bring the hands off of the floor. Neither of these motions is better or worse than the other. It's just different and allows your body to pay attention to different muscles. When you have found that you are comfortably resting again, take a moment of pause before you bring your arms back down along beside your body. If you had a pillow, you can move it away from your head now. We're going to finish with an arch and curl before we do our final body scan. So an arch and curl is very similar to the tilt and flatten we do at the beginning. Instead of I'm not sure what I was about to say there. It just involves a little bit more movement. So if your arms are not too uncomfortable from having them up above beside your head, bring your hands to the side of your head or behind your head. You can interlace your fingers if that feels good to you, or you don't have to. Now, with your arms out beside you, notice if this feels comfortable for your shoulders and your chest. If not, if having your elbows raised a little further would feel better, quickly grab your pillows and prop them up under your elbows. When you're ready, on an inhale, we're going to raise that belly button up towards the ceiling by pushing our tailbone down towards the floor, creating an arch in that low back, and then slowly paying attention to the muscles in the low back, releasing as you allow yourself to come back down to neutral. Keep drifting down towards neutral, and I'll explain the next portion. So this time, instead of only flattening our back down, we're going to include our head, neck, and shoulders and arms. So, on your next exhale, bringing your back flat by bringing your pubic bone and your rib cage together, bellies tightened. Bring your elbows together so they're pointing up towards the ceiling, and then gently curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Slowly bringing everything back down, releasing the muscles along the front side of your body. Keeping your elbows pointed straight. And when your head is resting, then begin to open the arms like a butterfly. So elbows are coming out towards the walls beside you. And rest when you are ready. On your next inhale, arching the low back, belly comes up towards the ceiling, tailbone down towards the floor. You can draw your shoulder blades down towards your hips as well. Releasing when you're ready. Slowly letting the abdomen let go. The upper back letting go. Your shoulders are coming back to normal. And if you need to take another inhale here to get to an exhale, we're going to come right through neutral. Exhaling, bringing pubic bone and rib cage together, flattening your lower back, elbows together, head, neck, and shoulder up into a gentle curl. Slowly letting the muscles of the abdomen and the front of the body let go so you can flatten back down. Your head is comfortably resting and there's no rush to get there. And gently bringing your elbows out, opening up the wings of the butterfly. Taking a moment to rest. And one final time. On your next inhale, tailbone down towards the floor, belly button up towards the ceiling. Shoulder blades coming down towards the hip. Imagine they're drawing across your back. Relaxing back down. The muscles along your back are letting go to allow you to come back to your neutral position. When you've reached neutral, on your next exhale, pubic bone and ribcage together, back flattening hard into the floor, elbows together, and bringing your head, neck, and shoulders up into a gentle curl. Slowly releasing the muscles along the front side of your body as you allow your head to come back down and your low back to come back to neutral. Don't forget to breathe through these motions. And when your head is fully rested, you can bring your arms out to the side like a butterfly. Taking your moment of rest at the end of this motion, before you bring your arms wherever they are comfortable along the side of your body and allowing your legs to move long. Taking a few breaths here. And then we will begin to scan our bodies again, noticing any areas of difference compared to the beginning of our practice today. So starting with your legs, your feet, your toes. Where are your toes pointed? Are your legs long if they were bent before? Are you noticing a change in any pain or tension that you might have been feeling? Coming up through the pelvis, noticing how your pelvis feels right now compared to before. Are you heavier or lighter? If you had a little bit of asymmetry before, has that equaled out? Do you feel like you've got more room, more space? Taking a big breath when you're ready, noticing your abdomen rising and falling. How does that feel compared to the beginning of class today? Noticing your chest as well, rising and falling, expanding and contracting. If you had noticed an asymmetry there, has that changed? Coming around to the back side of your body, noticing how your sacrum is sitting on the floor. How does that feel now? Moving up a little bit into the lower back. Has the arch changed? Are you able to lay legs long instead of keeping your knees bent? Were you experiencing some pulling or discomfort there? Moving up the spine, through the mid-back, upper back. Did you notice before if one side here was heavier than the other? What's different about it now? Moving up into the shoulders. How are they feeling in comparison to your chest? In connection to your back? And in connection down through the arms, the elbows, the hands, and the wrists. Notice the position you have them in now compared to before. Noticing as you come back up if your shoulders are sitting equally. And finally your head and neck. You can again do a gentle roll with your neck if that feels right to you, to test your motion and to see how your head feels as it rolls against the floor. Noticing any areas that have changed for the better. Take a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, you can gently roll over onto your side before you come up into sitting.